If you've been following the podcast for a while, you'll know that a little while back, I announced I was talking to investors about my startup AI Box. We ended up getting such a huge influx of people talking to us that we kind of changed our strategy regarding fundraising, and we have a really exciting announcement coming soon. But if you were an investor that had previously reached out to me and jumped on a call, make sure to reach out again. I have some really exciting news to give to you, or if you're an investor today looking to invest in an absolutely groundbreaking AI startup, I'm going to leave my email, jaden@aibox.ai, in the description, and I'll give you the inside scoop. We have some massive breaking news out of OpenAI. They have just launched DALL-E 3. So there I was at my desk. I'd completed all my podcasts I was planning on recording for you people today, and I saw this pop up, and it was posted an hour ago by OpenAI on LinkedIn. It says, quote, "Our new text-to-image model DALL-E 3 can translate nuanced requests into extremely detailed and accurate images, coming soon to ChatGPT Plus and Enterprise, which can help you craft amazing prompts to bring you your ideas to life." It's got a bunch of amazing pictures. And I had to throw away all my plans that I had for the next hour and record this podcast for you because this is absolutely insane. I love you. That's why I'm doing this in a timely manner. I'm not going to make you wait till tomorrow or the next day to find out about this. This is crazy. This is the biggest thing, I think, since GPT-4 launched out of OpenAI, in my opinion. So we're going to dive into everything happening in DALL-E 3, what all of the updates are, if this is a competitor to Midjourney. Spoiler alert, I do think it is. And, for a long time, I've been saying that DALL-E 2 is a piece of garbage that is not very good. And so I kind of stand by that. And I think that they knew that. That's why they've created this thing. And it's not that it's a piece of garbage. I mean, I'm being spoiled, right? It would have been insane a year or two ago. But compared to other things in the market, it just wasn't up to par. So today on the podcast, let's dive in without further ado into the launch of DALL-E 3. Welcome to the AI Chat Podcast. I'm your host, Jaden Schaefer. Have you ever wanted to start your own podcast? I record and publish podcasts on a platform called Spotify for Podcasters, and I absolutely love it. Essentially, you can upload from your phone or computer, and it distributes to every platform that plays podcasts. They support video podcasts, and you can make money on the platform with ads or even podcast subscriptions, something that has made my life so much easier as a podcaster. So if you're interested, I highly recommend you give it a try. You can download the Spotify for Podcast app, or go to spotify.com/podcasters to get started on your podcast today. So if you head on over to the DALL-E 3 landing page, what you're going to hear is, OpenAI says, quote, "DALL-E 3 understands significantly more nuanced and detail than our previous systems, allowing you to easily translate your ideas into exceptionally accurate images." So the big thing I think to know here is that DALL-E 3 is actually going to get embedded into ChatGPT. So this is not something that is like in the past, if you use DALL-E 2, you went over to their website, play around with it. Now you're going to be able to literally, if you have the premium account of ChatGPT, you're going to be able to access and use DALL-E 3 right on ChatGPT. Now, this is not launched right now. They said that this is going to be coming to enterprise customers and ChatGPT Plus customers in October. And it's also apparently via the API and in the labs later this fall. So it's going to be starting to get integrated into a ton of different products, which this is actually really cool. For those that don't know, I'm currently building an AI platform that allows you to link together a ton of different AI models to do some really impressive stuff. One of the big struggles we've had is that the major image generator is Midjourney. That's by far the best one. They do not have an API out yet, which is how you integrate it with software, which is super annoying. So you got to make all these workarounds. It's a ton of work. And this is really big, the fact that this is going to be, later this fall. The API for this is going to be available. This is going to be amazing. So I'm super excited about this. This is going to spur a ton of innovation. I know a lot of other developers and people working on startups are very, very excited about this. So here is what they're saying about it right now. They say, modern text-to-image systems have a tendency to ignore words or descriptions, forcing users to learn prompt engineering. DALL-E 3 represents a leap forward in our ability to generate images that exactly adhere to the text you provide. This is really interesting, right? If you've tried to generate anything on, Midjourney, you have to throw random keywords in there to get it to do stuff. It's getting better to the point where it's going to be eventually talking to ChatGPT. Say you just tell it what to do in plain English, and it's going to do it. You don't have to change together, keywords and other things. So I think this is very, very interesting. They show an example of a picture where they literally said the sidewalk bustling with pedestrians enjoying the nightlife, a bustling city street under the shine of a full moon. At the corner stall, a young woman in a fiery in fiery red hair, dressed in a signature velvet cloak, is haggling with a grumpy old vendor. The grumpy vendor, a tall, sophisticated man, is wearing a sharp suit, sports a noteworthy mustache, and is animated, conversing on his steampunk telephone. Okay, all of that right there, they did an image that is literally exactly that. It's just like, it is exactly what the words describe. So if you've ever tried to use Midjourney or anything else, you know, like the challenge where you're like, like 7 millimeter lens camera far back, just like you throw like all these different like UX UI like keywords on there that aren't really part of a story. So now you literally tell the story, you type the exact words, and it can generate it. This is going to be really interesting for things like books. It's going to be able to like take the page of a book and say, create an image of, what's happening on this page. Like, so crazy. This is going to be amazing. So one thing that they have noted is that even with the same prompt, DALL-E 3 gives a lot better images over DALL-E 2. So they have the same prompt, which is an expressive oil painting of a basketball player dunking, depicted as an explosion of a nebula. And the, DALL-E 2 gives this picture that's kind of, I don't know, splotchy, not very clear. They have it on DALL-E 3, and it's a really impressive picture. It's exactly what you'd kind of imagine or think of when you hear that prompt. So DALL-E 3 is built straight into ChatGPT, like I mentioned, and this kind of lets you use ChatGPT as a brainstorming partner to help you refine your prompts, right? Because even though it does exactly what you say in your text, sometimes you may want to add or remove things. This is kind of nice, where you literally are in ChatGPT, an environment you're familiar with, while you're developing these images. And you can also ask ChatGPT what you want to see, and just, throw it to a paragraph, throw it into simple sentences, it's going to generate it. So when prompted with an idea, ChatGPT is going to automatically generate tailored, detailed prompts for DALL-E 3, which is really cool, right? So ChatGPT is actually going to be able to create prompts. I've actually been using this for a while, and I wasn't sure if this was something that they were tying in, but it looks like it's getting a lot more tied in, where ChatGPT can generate prompts that really bring your idea to life. If you like a particular image, but it's not like exactly what you're going for, you can also ask ChatGPT to make small tweaks with just a few words. And it's, you're constantly like reiterating and kind of creating the perfect image for yourself, which is really, really cool. Like I said, this is going to be available in early October for paying customers. And I think what's really interesting, they said, quote, "As with DALL-E 2, the images you create with DALL-E 3 are yours to use, and you do not need our permission to reprint, sell, or merchandise them." So this is really interesting. They're essentially saying you have the copyright to these images that you're generating, which is very, and literally like commercial rights are selling. They're telling you can resell them. Now, I don't know if that means that they have, done some unique things with their image data set where they're essentially using images they have the rights to. I'm not sure like where the line is on that. But it says that they've taken steps to limit DALL-E 3's ability to generate, of course, violent, adult, or hateful content. That makes sense. They've also essentially said that it has, mitigations to decline requests to ask for a public figure by name. So, you essentially, I think if you're saying like a picture of Donald Trump, flying an airplane, or a picture of, Biden throwing a grenade or something crazy, right? It's not going to do that, which is interesting. I'm sure that's controversial. People are going to want jailbroken versions that they can generate public figures doing things, even if it's satire, I'm sure, or parody and stuff. So it's going to be interesting. I think Midjourney was in a bit of controversy earlier this year when they essentially, if you tried to ask for a picture of Xi Jinping, the president of China, it wouldn't allow you to do it, but you could do other people. And I think that's from like some Chinese pressure, other things. So, there's interesting things, but it looks like they're doing the same thing here. And at least OpenAI seems to have a blanket policy where it's no public figures, versus just, a couple random Xi Jinpings that are complaining. So in any case, they said that they improved safety performance in risk areas like generation of public figures and harmful biases related to people in partnership with, they have a big red teaming thing, a bunch of domain experts that have kind of helped do this. They said they've done this to help inform our risk assessments and mitigation efforts in areas like propaganda and misinformation. Interesting. I'm sure there's a lot of people who thought different opinions on that. But in any case, it says, we're also researching the best ways to help people identify when an image was created with AI. We're experimenting with a provenance classifier, a new internal tool that can help us identify whether or not an image was generated by DALL-E 3, and we hope to use this tool to better understand the ways generated images might be used So they'll share more on that soon. Very interesting. They're coming up with a way to actually detect which images are generated by AI. This is something that Google has been working on as well. So they're not the first people on this, but maybe some people to crack it on a high level. One thing that they have mentioned is, really giving creative control. They said DALL-E 3 is designed to decline requests that ask for an image in the style of a living artist. So, I guess you could still say do X, Y, and Z in the style of Vincent van Gogh if they're dead. But if it's a living artist, then it won't generate it's essentially designed to not generate images in that same style. So living artists today are, a lot of them have been complaining like, hey, these image generators are just knocking off my work. So it won't be able to do that. Another interesting thing that they've also said is that creators can now also opt their images out from training of our future image generation models. Now, the keyword here is future image generation models. So the model they have today is using everyone else's. But I went over to it and I saw they literally have a form where you put your name, your email, if you're the rights owner or if you're requesting on behalf of someone else, you can have a general description of your image, and you can actually upload images that you would like to be excluded from future training models. So you're an artist, you have, let's say a library of like 150 really famous images you've painted, maybe you've sold them. You can upload that library and it will not include those in its generation. Now, this is definitely a step behind something like what Adobe's doing, where they have a platform that's actually opted in. They have the rights to all the content on the platform and they train models off of that. Definitely a step behind that, as this is still generating from people's stuff, but very, very interesting. The images look quite impressive, way more like something you'd see on Midjourney. I mean, I'm looking at a picture of like a stormy ocean out the window. There's a coffee cup on the windowsill that has a wave splashing of coffee. Really realistic, looks really, really impressive. So there's some really cool stuff. I'm seeing indoor renderings. So for like architects and stuff, outside of buildings, insides of buildings, interior design, ocean stuff, hyper realistic, all sorts of different types of art. There's one that's like a digital illustration of a beach scene crafted from yarn, and it literally looks like yarn. Looks like a piece of art a person could have made. All sorts of really, really impressive art is on this. So I think this is definitely going to be the next step. I'll tell you what I think is the biggest deal about this. Definitely, this is impressive. Definitely, they're doing a bunch of new things around safety and helping artists. But the biggest thing, in my opinion, is the fact that this thing is going to have an API. And if, Midjourney does not come out with an API before then, this is going to be what gets integrated into all software and sees the most adoption. So very, very exciting. And we're excited for early October to start testing out DALL-E 3 and giving you an in-depth analysis once it is live.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Forget the frustration of picking commerce platforms when you switch your business to Shopify, the global commerce platform that supercharges your selling wherever you sell. With Shopify, you'll harness the same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/tech, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/tech.
Thank you for listening to the AI Chat Podcast. If you enjoyed the podcast, I'd appreciate it if you rate me wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you're looking for an innovative group of AI enthusiasts, make sure you check out our Discord channel and also our Facebook community. It's obviously a lot more interactive than a podcast, where we can actually share software tools, prompts that we're using in everyday AI. I'll leave a link for those in the description below.